Hey, Paroma. Paroma.
Hi.
Jolanta. I know you have a screen name you sometimes use on social media for everybody that's watching. Sometimes it's handy to have a second name. I have a second name in Thailand, Jolanta, because Thai people, just for your information, I live in Thailand, and Thai people don't find it easy to pronounce the letter L. And they typically convert it to R. The letter R, they convert it to L, I should say. So they can't say R. And so because Darryl's got two R's in it, they'll say Darryl. And I first came here 13 odd years ago. I hated hearing the sound Darryl so much. I said, just call me Daz. And people all around the world have called me that anyway, if they know me well enough. Everywhere in Thailand I'm just Daz, and I use that. So anyway, welcome everybody if you're listening in or tuning in. It's great to have you on. This is our inaugural podcast that I'm doing with Jolanta, and Jolanta lives in Latvia. I live in Thailand. She is Latvian. I'm actually a Kiwi, or born in New Zealand, if Kiwi doesn't make sense to you. That's where the Kiwi bird that doesn't fly, doesn't have any wings to fly with. So I met Jolanta, must be a bit over a year, maybe approaching 2 years ago, when I first started getting involved in cryptocurrency a little bit with a friend of mine. And I joined a group called the Ninja Lounge, which was just a bit of a community that, was helpful for people learning in the crypto space. And that's where I met Jolanta, and she helped me in the early days. I don't even know if you remember this, Jolanta, but I was telling everybody I was a newbie, and you said, "Oh, Darryl, it's not a good idea to call yourself a newbie because the scammers love newbies."
Yes, I remember.
Thank you. I'll stop that right away. And anyway, Jolanta, why don't you take a few minutes to tell us about yourself, a bit of your journey. I'll prompt you a bit further along to get into other bits of it. But, Jolanta Garda from Latvia, welcome.
Thank you. A pleasure. A short story about me. So, as you mentioned, I'm from Latvia. I live here, and probably the most proud thing I'm about myself. I have 3 amazing daughters. So that's my biggest achievement. And also at the same time, the biggest challenge, as it takes a lot of time, a lot of patience, and a lot of learning to kind of show them the beauty of the world, despite many unusual and not so nice stuff happening around. So that's probably where I'm spending quite a lot of also my energy, how to show them the beauty and the greatness of the world we're living, and how we really can enjoy every day. Otherwise, I'm professionally, I'm coming from a financial background. I have been in finance probably, I don't know, more than 15 years, and then I moved more to operations and IT, working in the management teams of many companies. Shortly before we met with Darryl, I started exploring crypto world as well. I was a couple of months older in crypto than Darryl, and already managed to learn a lot learn by doing. I had a lot of my experiences, and this is why I was so open to sharing those experiences with others, so that if somebody else can eliminate the black side or the dark side of the crypto world and can enjoy the light side or opportunity of it, then that was like part of my personal mission.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the crypto world, I started with just exploring, investing, and then it moved to being part of few projects, and really deep diving into this. And now I'm doing a bit of consulting for projects who wants to start doing some crypto, like startups on this. At the same time, I'm still also consulting like usual companies on business plans, on process improvements, some finance improvements. So just taking all the baggage of my long years experience and putting it in a pieces and being available for the teams who wants to get like outside view.
Yeah, it sounds exciting to me, and I know that I've really appreciated your experience and input from business point of view, and apart from my mission with this inspirational channel that I want to bring some inspiring things to people, and particularly inspire them to step up to the highest possible values they can attain and in themselves, not by other people's standards, but that force within themselves. And but I'm also involved in business, and I've had a history of business as well. And yeah, I've really appreciated your input. And the whole crypto thing's an incredible rabbit hole, isn't it? It can just create it so much, and it's definitely the wild west. I've lost money a few times in crypto. Thankfully, not fortunes, but significant amounts. I think I've had a couple of $5,000 losses, and that hurts. $5,000 is not an insignificant amount of money to me, and I didn't like losing it. It's a terrible personal invasion, when somebody just takes you down like that, especially when you just know you were totally set up. It's awful.
I think the worst situation is when you invest and after like a couple of minutes you understand this is a scam project and there is even no way of getting it like back. And it's like I had one bigger investment as well. Like there was one guy who was like promoting a project, and I was like, okay, yeah, sounds good. And that was like really like the first months of crypto for me. So I still didn't have all this like review. I didn't do your own research and so on. So more like opportunist. And so yeah, like there was different kind of benefits coming out of it, and that was a centralized platforms. This is why I don't like centralized platforms anymore. And I put money, and like 12 hours later the platform closed down, and I was like, oh, wow,
that hurts, doesn't
it? And yeah, but this is why like I really like to share those stories so that other people kind of like do their research before, and they speak with those who are more experienced, and really try to learn from other experiences, because yes, this is like the crypto world is really like Wild West, and there is a plenty of, we call them scammers, or like, I don't know, dark
nice. That's exactly what they are, scammers.
Yeah. So yeah, who are taking advantage of newbies and those who like don't really have the information how it's all happening. And actually I just today saw, I got like email in my scam inbox where it was please scan your ledger, so that like ledger is like the wallet, outside wallet, which is one of the secure places to store cryptocurrencies. And please
right
yeah, true. Yeah. So scan your ledger so that you make sure your assets are secure. And I was like, really? Like, why? That's the last thing to do, because as soon as,
but some people wouldn't know that, would they? Some people would just probably do that. I mean, I hear it living here in Thailand, because it's a reasonably well developed country, but it's still not as developed as Europe and North America and other countries, and New Zealand, where I came from, and Australia, where I've lived quite a bit. There's still a lot of people here whose education they haven't had the opportunity to be educated as well as you and I, Jolanta, and they just fall for some terrible honeypot traps. I mean, even on the various finding love channels, I'm constantly hearing from my wife, who's Thai, about friend or people she knows, Thai women who've given money to some handsome, beautiful guy online who's going to come over and take them back to his country and give them an incredible life, and they probably just gave their life savings to some scammer from some country somewhere. It's just awful. I mean, it's like they're like highway bandits were, a few hundred years ago, when in the stagecoach robbers that would rob the Federal Express or whatever it was that was being drawn by carts. And it's kind of Robin Hood type stuff, but now it's more sophisticated because it's online and you can hide behind and you can be anonymous so much more, so very, very easily. And it's only getting worse because we're moving into this technology called deep fakes, where even having conversations like this, it'll be possible one day for my avatar to look just exactly like me and have a conversation and not even be. I can be somewhere else, I could be,
yeah. That becomes very dangerous.
That's true. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it does. So anyway, look, just for everybody's information, just to give you a bit of a history, because this is our inaugural, my inaugural podcast, first one I've ever done really with somebody else. And Jolanta is helping me, and we're working together to make this enterprise. It's not really a business, it's more of a philanthropic effort at this stage to get the messaging out there to people, to inspire them and to hold up good values that are enduring. There's a lot of confusion in the world today, and we're not only working together in this endeavor, but we're working together in a business endeavor. I'm part of a business in Australia that I helped found with another person over there, called Explore My Store, which is Australia's largest online shopping centre. And Jolanta and others are helping and helping us get involved with the blockchain space and the digital side of the business. And we're just involved in promoting there. So, and she very kindly offered to help me with the technical side of promoting, the values that I hold dear. And as it turns out, she holds them dear as well. And I think that's pretty important. I mean, I think there's a lot of values that are under, just basic core values that you and I grew up with as kids. And I know I'm older than you. I don't mean to place myself in your age bracket. I wish I could. But, I know you grew up with fairly, similar values in some ways to me. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about, how you see the world in terms of its need for some old-fashioned, let's call it. They're not old-fashioned because they've been around forever and they'll be around forever, but values that, why do you think, we really need to be promoting the values that we are promoting together here, Jolanta? Tell us a bit about what you think about that.
Yeah, I'm actually very honored to work on Inspirational Catalyst together with Darryl, because that really brings together the values I'm kind of having for myself right now. And probably I came to them also just in a couple last years, when I started to realize that, the life is happening somehow not in a way I would like to.
Yeah.
And and I realized that myself that I was as a as a rat in this like circle, just going through and like work, like there's like what was the core values? It was work, it was career, it was like putting like some kind of status on myself, and all of this was a value. And I'm super super happy I managed to make kids around this time. Otherwise like that would be very lonely.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then like with the time I realized that these values don't really make me happy. And it is cool to have a great work, and it is cool to have a great career, and because like the base needs are satisfied. But at the same time, it very often, I'm not saying always, but very often make us very lonely, because we are kind of running for this invisible value. While I think that the core value is actually all around, like us, like the people we are, like first like personality, who we are, what we think, and then the people who are around us. And this is like why I really think like currently that the value to understand who we really are and what we really want is like the one of the core things.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we are kind of running for some kind of targets which are not really what we like, and then we realized, oh, we spend like, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 years, and we realize like, oh, so, and what's the point? And
yeah, it's sort of like we've got this incredible pressure to, move up the corporate ladder, make a bigger salary, have a better car, have a better house. And there's nothing wrong with any of these things, but they're at the expense of, our relationships that'll be there long after we've left that corporation, that business, and they don't give a toss about us at all. Thanks, you've done your job. Here's your, golden goodbye gift, and goodbye, and that's it. You never hear from them again. It's not like they actually love you. They just like what you can do for them, and when they don't, they'll get rid of you. So there's all that kind of pressure. And I loved how you opened up right from the get-go, Jolanta, and you said how you're proudest of the fact that you've got 3 terrific kids. And I totally relate to that, because I'm proudest also that I've got 3 terrific kids as well. 2 older ones and a younger one. And, the older ones are probably not far from, well, they're older. They're in my eldest daughter's just turned 40. And my eldest son's 18 months older than her. So, and my son's got kids of his own. And they are my greatest achievements. And I'm not saying I've done a great job with them. I'm just saying that they're still here. They're very good kids, and they're very independent and self-sustaining. And I had a piece of that. I gave them the opportunity and put some things into their lives, and where I failed with them, I'm doing my best with my little 10-year-old now to not make those mistakes again as much, perhaps. And I'm working hard on that. So, but this is something that when you're in the corporate world, it's so easy to lose sight of. Sorry, I talk with my hands a bit. It's so easy, isn't it, to lose sight of relationships?
Yeah, because like the pressure there is very, very huge, and it's just like the speed, how you have to go through it. You kind of, that's, I would say, there is done everything so that people lose their personalities, because then they are really good employees. And when they don't have like their personal life, they don't have their personalities, they don't have their personal needs, or they forget about them. They probably have them. We usually have them. We just forget about them.
Yeah.
And
we reprioritize, don't we? We reprioritize.
Yeah, and then we become amazing employees, because everything we live off is kind of the job we have to do.
Yeah.
And
yeah, but back home we're saying, oh, sorry, honey, tonight I can't make it to that family event because the boss has asked me to. We've got this urgent project and we've got to get it finished tonight. And there's always another, next week there's another thing, and next week there's another thing, and it never stops because it's like a vortex. It never ends, and that's the thing about commerce. And I love commerce. Don't get me wrong. I'm not anti-commerce. I just really think it's a real challenge to keep the priorities of relationships that matter, that'll be there after commerce doesn't matter anymore. I think, look, I haven't learned more than I've learned in the 10 years of living in Thailand, or 13 years of living in Thailand. I've learned more about the value of family. And I've always considered myself a family person and love my family. And but my goodness, in a country like Thailand, for a Kiwi like me, coming from a country where we had social welfare, we had a government paid medical system, and, the company had to give you 3 and 4 weeks holiday every year, and you got sick pay for 2 weeks, 3 weeks a year, and, all these benefits. Coming to a country, you go to the hospital and the doctor and it was all free. Come to a country here, you don't get anything free. There is nothing free. The welfare, they have a social welfare system, but the social welfare system is the family. So if you get into difficulty and you don't have a family, you're really struggling, unless you can go to the temple and they might look after you, and they do a lot of good works. And of course, Thailand's a very Buddhist country with, I think, 98% of the population is Buddhist, and there's temples everywhere, and they do a lot of good work, whether you're religious or not. And I don't really classify myself as religious, even though I've had a religious background. But if you need it, the temples will do they'll feed you, and stuff like that. So I've really realized just how important. I've doubled down on how important I feel the family is. In the last 13 years of living here, I've really doubled down. Wow, I thought the family was important before. Now I think it's more important than ever.
Yeah, I truly agree, because the values which are promoted, especially in the Western world, are very, very far from being family as a number one value. And I will probably not comment what I think, why it is happening, as it's maybe contradictory, but I think, like,
I have to be politically correct with me, Jolanta. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, but otherwise, like, I think when there is a high value in a family, then people are more independent, but they are more thinking from their heart and more thinking from, like, their own values. While when people are getting more separated, like more lonely. And I just actually yesterday saw the statistic. I just don't remember, was it statistic of Latvia or Western world, but there was said, like, by year 2030, like more than 40% of female will be single. And that sounds like, I would say it sounds awful, because that takes together a lot of other problems which comes with it, because like this natural sense of how female and male energy, like, or masculine and feminine energy should kind of incorporate, it's kind of moving away, and that, I think, it opens up, like, huge issues which we don't even realize yet.
Yeah, look, I agree. I remember when I was only saying this to somebody just last week, or this week even, no, last week, I remember as a kid growing up when the Burn the Bra movement happened. I don't know if you were old enough to remember that, but in the West, women were going around, it was just the early days of the feminist movement, probably in the 60s, later 60s and early 70s. And women were burning their bras, and it was kind of like a protest to, it's time for us to stand on our own 2 feet and enter the workforce. Whether back in, my mum's day, and even here, largely in Thailand, it's something I absolutely love. Women are, they're proud to be stay-at-home mums and look after the kids, and I think that's great. And the mothers of my 2 lots of children, because I, had 2 lots of children, one with my wife now, and one with, that was the mum of the first 2. They're stay-at-home mums, and I've never put them under pressure to develop any other career, because that is a career.
Yeah.
You don't have to choose that. Nothing wrong with not being a stay-at-home mum either, but there's certainly nothing wrong or second-rate, second-class about being a stay-at-home mum. I think it's a fabulous career path, and
I think it's actually a much more complex career path than many people imagine.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of effort, and I'm not there, because I'm definitely I have been always a career in there, and I see like the results of it already, which means I need to put much more effort, like right now when they are teens, to talk with them what I could actually put inside them if I would be like more at home and would spend more time and kind of gave all this energy more to them. But because I was like so into work, so I kind of missed it, and now I'm kind of okay. So that was in the past. And like, thank you. Okay, what I can do at the current moment, and this is like also like we can't change the past. So despite what was there, so we just take where we are, and okay, so how we can adjust, and still how we can promote the family values, how we can promote like the openness in the family, that we are actually really can, so that kids can come to parents and really trust them and speak to them, that they are not afraid of them, that they kind of see that some friend who is in the class and not really care for them, they trust them more than their parents. So how to change these situations? And I think there's plenty of examples when this is happening, like when kids really can't trust their parents, or they are afraid of their parents, and this is why they are trying to find solutions somewhere outside the family, which is not always bringing to the best.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I think we need education of parents as well, on how to communicate effectively with their children, with them amongst themselves and with their children. And as evolved as we are as a species, and in whatever country we live in, there's so much opportunity for improvement, and that's why I feel really, strongly exercise within myself to use my talents to do whatever little bit I can do, and to educate, because most of my adult life, even though I've not been formally a teacher, but I've spent so much of my life teaching practical things. I've given many thousands and thousands of public talks around the world on all kinds of subjects, and about communication, about family, about relationships, about raising children, and I think there's a real hunger. People are hungry for it. They want to know how to be better mums, how to be better dads, how to be better teenagers, and also I think we're scared to put challenges on our kids. We're frightened of losing them, or to put boundaries there for them too. We don't want them to to feel I don't love them, or they might not be my friend or whatever. You need to be worried more about being a mum or being a good dad than you do about being a friend. At the same time, you need to be friendly. I think some parents, and this is a mistake I made first time around, was I was thinking, I really want to be my kid's best friend. But yeah, that's important to be kind of a friend, but it's more important that I be a father than I be a friend. Because I remember with my dad, I wouldn't say he was ever my friend, but he was a good dad, and I had a lot of respect for him. And my mum was probably a good friend, but I also had an immense amount of respect for her as well, because she just didn't take any crap from me, you know, and that was really something. And so I think that's important when you're a parent. Yeah, you know, you might be a friend, but in a different way. But it's more important that you have their respect. And I don't mean that in a fearful way, but that they look up to you and they respect your standard and they respect you as a person, to the point that, you know, that they wouldn't want to lie to you, because, you know, they wouldn't want to lose your respect of them. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, as much as I'd like to be a friend to my kids, I'd much rather that I had their respect, and that they respected me and my values, than that they feel, oh, Dad's my best friend. Yeah, well, maybe you need to get a life. You know, you need to get friends your own age, and you know, but I don't want you to lose respect for me. And
the only thing about respect is, like, I think you said it really, really nicely, and I just want to probably elaborate on it. Like, there's people who think respect is something when people like are afraid, and you kind of like in an army, like people are afraid, and this is why they respect. Or like teachers at the school, you respect because you are afraid. In a parenthood, it's different kind of respect. It's like, as you said, like you just look at your mom and dad and you say, oh, I want to be like them because I respect them so much, and because they live the values, which kind of means instead of like what often happens in the families is when parents are still acting from their inner child, and they are like just putting their emotions all around the place, including to their kids, and this is like the values when they are losing the respect, because they become a small kid to a kid who has to act as an adult to a parent, and then when it kind of messes all up, and the respect is a question mark. But while parents are still acting from an adulthood and from a values, then this respect is just natural thing which comes.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, we get respect on multiple levels. Like, we need to, you know, I think kids need to respect parents, that their parents tell the truth, for example. That's a great level. You know, I that's something I loved about both my parents. I never, ever caught them lying to me in any way. I don't believe they did lie to me. And if they did, I certainly never found out. They were bloody good liars if they ever did tell a lie. I never caught them at it. And that's something I would like to have my kids respect, that, okay, I may not agree with Dad. You know, he may not be perfect. Well, he isn't perfect in so many ways, and he's made mistakes, but he's always told me the truth as he sees it. And that, I think, is important, that I tell the truth. You know, like today I went shopping with Nock, my wife, and Virginia had asked me, my daughter had asked me, oh, Dad, if you're going to the shopping centre, could you buy something for me in particular? And actually, we Nock and I did our shopping. We got back in the car park, got in the car, drove out, checked out of the shopping centre, and I said, oh, Nock, drive around the front of the shopping centre and wait for me outside, because I forgot to buy something that Virginia asked me to, and I said I would. Now, if she just said I'd like it, would you do it? And I didn't say I would, I wouldn't have bothered. But I actually made an agreement to do it, and it was important to me. And Nock said, can't you just get it next time? I said, no, because I said I'd do it this time.
Yeah.
and that's important. Your word.
Yeah, and kids need to feel that they can rely. So this was a perfect example. So you said you will do it, and if you don't do it, then how kids translate it is, oh, I asked, he said yes, but he didn't do it, so I can't really trust that they still
and
happen.
they then put that in themselves and go, next time he asks me to do something, I can not do it and say, oh no, I didn't do it, and that's okay.
Yeah, exactly, because they lead by example. Like,
exactly.
so
Yeah, so you know, kids learn more from what we do than they do from what we say.
exactly.
Yeah. And I think, you know, one of the quotes, I don't know if we've posted it yet, but you know, I make quite a few quips and quotes along those lines that get that kind of message out there, that, you know, I don't care what you say. I want to judge you by what you do more than anything else, you know, because what you do is the thing that's important. And that doesn't mean you've got to be perfect. That doesn't mean, you know, you've got to be, you know, always do it all the time. Sometimes you can just mess up, but own it. You know, if you do mess up, own it. Yeah, sorry, I really messed up. I'm so sorry. And that's okay, you know, because nobody's perfect. You know, I used to love in my preacher days, I used to often say, listen, I don't care how high you can jump. I care, can you walk straight when you land? You know, because some people can jump pretty high and then they just fall apart, you know. So these are all really important values. I think telling the truth is a really big one, you know. I think with people, and all kids lie until they learn not to. And I think it's really, I remember when, you know, Virginia, she'd try me on with a few lies. Oh, yes, I've done this, or yes, I've done that. No, I knew she hadn't. You know, it's a diplomatic and careful path you've got to go down to teach your kids to tell the truth and get the lesson across to them as to why that's important, for them to understand that, well, telling a lie breaks a relationship at some level. It chips away at that relationship. It may not break it in one go, but it's like cutting down a tree. You take a chip out of the tree when you cut into it, and that's what lying does. It takes a chip out of a thing called relationships. And you know, most people will let you away with one lie, two lies, maybe even a few lies if they're not that important. But ultimately, if you keep doing it, you're going to get to the stage one day where you're either going to make a big lie, or you're going to make too many lies that goes, you just can't be trusted. And I think I put it on my website. It was a quote from Nietzsche that, you know, said, you know, I don't care that you lied to me. I care that now I can't believe you anymore.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying also to my daughters, because we are still going through this transition process in a way, like, because I see how other kids are lying also to other parents, and of course they kind of learn from it. And I'm usually saying is, I don't care how bad is the truth, like, because like that's my work to keep myself stable and like keep the security feeling for you. But like, I don't really kind of accept lies, so I'm better to hear like all the bad truths with what is happening. But instead of like hearing something what is not true, because and we are going through it, and I'm seeing like, because of course, like when they are saying that I have to keep myself stable, I can't go like, wow, like, otherwise, like, I'm just breaking it down. So and the more stable and more like calm I am when they are saying the truth, the more they are opening up. And actually, like as you said, we are learning to tell the truth. As very often, like, it for people, it just feels this is so much more secure to lie, because you just tell what people want to hear instead of
and you
what's
tell
really
them what you want them to believe. You know, we've all grown up with those kids at school that used to, you know, oh, my dad's got this job and he does that, and you know, we've got this and we've got that, and you find out they don't have it, and they just lose all credibility, and nobody likes them, and they end up being lonely. So if you really want to have friends and be liked, be reliable, don't tell lies. Because something I found, and it's a great truism in the Christian Bible. It goes like this. It says, be sure your sins will find you out. And it's like, if you tell lies, they will be exposed somewhere. They may not be exposed today, tomorrow, this week, this year, but at some point in time they will show up.
Yes.
And
sure.
all our errors of deliberate errors of that we make, they find us out. If we do things accidentally, well, we might get away with it more so, or not suffer as badly. But sin finds us out. It does. We get exposed. And so I'm totally into promoting these values, not because I think I want to be a moral person for the sake of being moral. I'm as much of a rule breaker as anybody, and I've been as much of a bad boy as anybody, and lived a bit crazy too. And part of that's called growing up. And so I'm not pointing any fingers here, but I'm just saying that to end up enduring and going through life and being reasonably stable and having a few friends around you and people that give a damn about you, then you've got to build these values into your life. And I see in the world today so many people who are busy talking about my rights, it's my right. But yes, talk about your rights, but what about your responsibilities? Because you can't have rights without having responsibilities.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I think
it's all give and take, so in everything.
Yeah. So I think, I kind of want to try as much as I can with, my contribution to the world. And as we leave a bit of a legacy here together, Pleroma and others that join us along the way as we get a bit of momentum, because it's very, very early days. But I want to leave a legacy where we can kind of make. Let me put it this way. Responsibility can sound such a boring word and such an onerous word and such a burden, but let's try and make it sexy. Let's try and make it, more exciting to be responsible, because let's focus people more on the rewards and the benefits, if you like, perhaps is a better word, the benefits of being a reliable person, the benefits of being a truth teller, the benefits of being responsible, the benefits, because, if you're a young person and you haven't entered the workforce yet, or you've just entered the workforce and you think that, the world owes you something and the company owes you something, well, you're dreaming, mate, because the world doesn't owe you anything, and nobody really owes you a lot. But if you start showing up in a responsible way, and you start telling the truth, and you start being on time, and you start being a person of your word, and you start being reliable, it's amazing how the world will start conspiring in your favor.
Yeah, I like to kind of split sometimes words, and like responsibility is kind of responding to your ability, and so it's kind of so it's so show what you are able to do, and the world will respond to it like in a like returned way. And like I truly believe that the world around us is kind of a mirror to who we are. And the more responsible, the more open, the more loving we are, like the more responsible and loving the world around us becomes. And the more we are in a down energy, like I don't know, gossiping on others and so on, the more we will receive it back. So I truly believe everything starts with ourselves, and even like kid quick like question about the children and so on. So I was not fully responsible as I would like to all my time. I can honestly say, yeah. And when I started like to learn all the new skills, I was like, oh, I had this like sense of guilt. And then like one smart person told to me, believe it or not, but it's each person can decide that by themselves, but kids choose us because they need to go through the experience they need to have in this world. So then I said, okay, so you choose me. I made like all the crazy stuff which I made. Now I got to the stage when I learned how it should be, so I can actually come and like tell you the new stuff. So I removed the guilt, I removed the past, and I said, okay, so now I'm responsible because now I have a knowledge. So, and how I can put this knowledge into the life, and how I can actually start transferring it. And like we will not see results in the first day, because like even the flower don't grow in one day if it's not some unique flower.
Yeah.
But we plant the seed, and then it starts growing slowly, and with the time we see like how we change, people around change, their attitude change because we have changed, and that's really, really amazing.
Yeah, that's right. It's a process, and some aspects might be faster than others, but a lot of it is quite slow. But yeah, it's really important to teach kids these, stamina, ethical stamina and endurance and reliability and all these things. And it's not easy, and some of it comes back to them a bit later in life. Maybe you tell them today, and 10 years later they remember. It's so important. Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, my dad used to say to me sometimes, he said, Darryl, I truly want you to have every success. I hope you go way farther than I ever did. But just remember this one thing. No matter how great you become, if you ever do, in whatever level or discipline or talent or skill, he said, there's one thing you can never do, and one thing that I can do, but you will never do. He said, I will always be your dad. You'll always be my son. You'll never be my dad.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And it's a simple little quip. It's a simple little funny in some ways, but yes, when you muse on it a bit, you think, wow, yeah, there is a hierarchy in life that absolutely demands respect. Now, we don't necessarily give that respect, but to the degree that we don't give it respect is to the degree that we lose. To the degree that I don't respect that my father, even if he was, which he absolutely wasn't, but imagine for a minute, he was the worst father in the world. He's still my father, and without him, I wouldn't even have an opportunity, because I wouldn't exist. And as the great philosophical question goes, when you first go to philosophy school, the question is, would you rather have existed or not have existed? Now, if you would rather have existed than not existed, then you've got your father to thank for that, and your mother, of course. But that they straight away have a hierarchy. There is a hierarchy between you and your parents, and I think this hierarchy idea is something that that the woke community today, is really attacking, because this level of respect, they just don't respect. They don't have that level of respect that is essential, because nature or life demands it. That we have that respect. If we don't have a respect for that, and don't have a respect, and just push that analogy even further in respect for all of life, I think we're really missing out. And it comes down to, I think, we need to bring clarity to people, so that, because a lot of confusion in the world today. I think young people, just don't know where to go, where to step. Sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't, and they need mentors. And there's something about older people. I remember when I was a teenager, in my, 17, 18 years of age, and I was in a youth group, and sometimes on a Sunday afternoon, we'd go around to old people's homes, and where I don't mean houses, but to institutional homes where there might be 30, 40, 50 older people in their 80s and 90s, many of them, and sort of like care homes. And we would just talk with them and just give them some company. And, sometimes I'd take my guitar, because I used to be able to play a bit of a guitar, and we'd, sing a few songs, and, and they just loved it. They just have a great time. Sometimes we just take a little dog along, and, and these are things that just didn't happen in their day, but when you get these old people talking, and my mum passed away about a year ago, and but in early 1991, and but the wisdom of these old people, when you get to appreciate how great it is, it's amazing. And I think the world is looking for, young people need mentors. Everybody needs mentors. I need mentors, but younger people need to look up to older people, just for the sake of the experience and the learnings that we can get. And there's a level of respect, there's a hierarchy there that's important, not just ideology. We need to get it down into practicality, and these are things that I'm looking forward to promoting, with more podcasts like this and more material that be produced. I think it's changed the mentality of the world a little bit, even if it is only in the butterfly effect. We have a small influence. Well, look, Jolanta, we've been chatting on for almost an hour. It's been great.
It's going really quickly.
Yeah. And I as we close off, just quickly, I wanted to just ask you what you felt we need to, in the development of this channel, because we're going out on YouTube and Rumble and Twitter and Facebook and Telegram and every other channel we possibly can over time. And we haven't really got traction yet, but hopefully, with a bit more effort, we will. We're just building up some material. But what do you think we need in terms of support from outside of what you and I can bring here, from other people that might listen to this and go, yeah, I like what these guys are talking about. I like the direction they're going down, and I wonder if there's a space I could contribute. I'd love to hear your input just for a few moments about that.
I truly believe everyone who wants to promote the values back to the families, and back to who we really are, and more like human values instead of others.
Corporate values and political values, and
yeah, exactly, and like all these political situations and so on. So we are not getting there, but really about the human values. I think everyone is very, very welcome. So, and there is like different kind of levels. One is from just sharing the message. So if you like it, just share it, and like that is a way of promoting, because the more people hear it, and the more people relate to it, the higher the probability is that we are putting a small effort in changing the world for a better. So I would say with this, and of course, if there is somebody who wants to collaborate with us and like even give some more effort into this, like there is always space and opportunities to do it. So I think like we both are super open, so it's kind of mission to spread the word, to bring the light energy in a world. And so everyone who see different kind in different levels, some kind of effort or collaboration ready to do, there we will definitely can find a spot.
Yeah. Look, I think that's well said, and from my view too, I think anybody that's got a talent that wants to promote values that are enduring. I like to talk about immutable, what I call immutable values that just endure from generation to generation, from culture to culture. I know we've got different values in different cultures, but values that transcend cultures, like truth telling, like reliability, like being friendly, like being kind, like being generous. These values, they just go right across culture. And anybody that wants to promote these kind of things, wants to sponsor these kind of things, wants to be a patron or an influencer, or you've got some design talent, or you've got some promotional social media talent, all these things, you can reach out to us, and we'd love to hear from you and find a space where you can use your contribution to life to make a difference. Yeah, so thanks for tuning in, and don't hesitate to email or communicate to us on any channel. That we'll put a link or links to various places down below in this message when it lands on YouTube, and you'll be able to just reach out to us anywhere you want to that suits you. So thanks for your time today, and thank you, Jolanta. It's really appreciated.
Thank you. It was amazing.